All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Show. Now, this week, the New York Knicks were doing typical New York Knicks things. We know about the whole Spike Lee incident, and we also heard about fans being thrown out of MSG the other night for starting a chant of "sell the team." And if what the Knicks did wasn't stupid enough, their cross-river rivals, the Brooklyn Nets, are now trying to catch up. We saw the Nets today make the decision to mutually agree to part ways with head coach Kenny Atkinson. Now, in 3+ seasons as the head coach of the Nets, Atkinson was 118 and 190 with a trip to the playoffs last season. Now, make no mistake about it, the Nets organization has had a history of making questionable decisions. Two that come to mind right off the bat was the firing of Avery Johnson in 2012, right after he was named as coach of the month in the NBA in the previous month. And then you go back to 2004 with the firing of Byron Scott after he had just led the Nets 2 consecutive trips to the NBA Finals. Now, the Nets asked Atkinson to do more with less with this rebuild. Remember, in Atkinson's first year, the Nets only won 20 games. And then, they improved little by little. They went 42 and 40 last season, and they made a shocking trip to the NBA playoffs. Now, the Nets were starstruck over the summer when they went out there and they signed both Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, the Nets knew that he more than likely would not play for them this season as he suffered that ruptured Achilles tendon in the NBA Finals last spring as a member of the Golden State Warriors. Irving has been limited this season. He's only appeared in 20 games, and now his season is done following shoulder surgery. And I look at this, and this falls into the lap of Nets general manager Sean Marks as far as being a very questionable decision. I mean, number one, you didn't get Atkinson a lot to work with. And let's not forget, this Nets franchise, it took them a long time, a very long time, to recover from that stupid trade back in the early 2010s when they gave multiple first-round picks to the Boston Celtics for a group of aging players that included Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. And they did that just to win one playoff series. Now, right now for the Nets, they have a young team. I thought they made a mistake last summer when they allowed D'Angelo Russell to go to Golden State and to sign a trade for KD, because the Nets really had something going with him as opposed to Kyrie Irving. Now you're right back at square one, because now you got to find a coach. And with the likes of Kyrie and Kevin Durant, Diva 1 and Diva 2 as far as I'm concerned, you got to go out there and try to find a big name coach who's going to be able to keep these two egos in check long enough to win some basketball games next season, which will be easier said than done. But getting back to this season, the Nets were 28 and 34. They were 7th in the Eastern Conference. And let's peel back the surface and look at this. When your best player is Spencer Dinwiddie, and this is no offense to Spencer Dinwiddie, but when your best player is Spencer Dinwiddie, you're not going to be able to keep up with the top tier teams in the Eastern Conference. You look at the Toronto Raptors. Yes, they lost Kawhi Leonard in free agency, but the bottom line is the Raptors have a system in place. That's why they keep going. You look at the Philadelphia 76ers. Right now, Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are hurt, but this Sixers team has depth. The Boston Celtics have depth. The Milwaukee Bucks have depth. The Indiana Pacers and Miami Heat all have depth, and they all have better players. And these are the teams that are in front of the Nets. So what did you expect out of this team? The Nets blew out the San Antonio Spurs at home last night, and they looked like they were getting some momentum for themselves. And right now you're going to have a whole bunch of players having to answer questions about the firing of their head coach. Now you're going to have a GM who's going to have to answer questions about firing the head coach. And this is going to take away, and this is going to be another distraction for this team coming down the stretch. The Nets still have the ability to make the playoffs. Make no mistake about it. But how far did we really expect this team to go? I mean, if the Nets are looking at the 7th or 8th seed, which means that they're going to more than likely face Milwaukee, Toronto, or Boston in the first round. And I think, to me, This was really a slap in the face for Atkinson. The blowout win last night to the Spurs against the Spurs, but then also the huge comeback win earlier this week versus the Boston Celtics on the road. So the guy does all of that, and then you let him go. I mean, I really don't know what the Nets are doing right now. Honestly, none of us know what the Nets are doing right now, and they're doing the best to catch up with the Knicks. We know that the Knicks are a joke. The Knicks consistently go out there and make dumb personnel moves, and I know that there was a large amount of people in New York City that once the Nets decided to come back across the Hudson and then even go even a little bit further across the East River, they were hopeful that, they had a team to root for aside from the Knicks. But the Nets simply have not learned from the Knicks' stupidity. They constantly go out there. They consistently rush things. We saw them give up all the draft picks to the Celtics. We've seen them make dumb moves in the draft before that. We see them make dumb moves right now in personnel decisions. They went out there. They gave big-time contracts to a veteran player in Kevin Durant that they're asking to be the same guy that he was prior to the Achilles injury, which is a long shot. They also gave a ton of money to a guy in Kyrie who has been flaky throughout his NBA career. Kevin Durant couldn't deal with the media in Oklahoma City, and he could not deal with it in Oakland. So what makes you think that he's going to be able to deal with the media when he comes back healthy in New York City next year? I don't think so. Kyrie Irving is as shady as a $3 bill. We've seen that before throughout his NBA career, and the bottom line is he doesn't make the people around him better, and when he leaves, those teams are better off without him. The Nets made a mistake right there. They made another mistake today in firing Atkinson, and this is why you only see a certain amount of teams each season contending for championships in the NBA, because when you do stupid decisions like this, you are consistently going back to the drawing board and you are consistently starting over. And this is why the Nets will continue to be a bad organization. They had a golden opportunity in front of them to seize the momentum and seize the town away from the New York Knicks when they came to Brooklyn a few years ago. And instead of that, they just continuously get caught up in their own stupidity. And this is why the Nets will continue to be a bottom feeder in the Eastern Conference. Regardless if Kevin Durant and Kyrie come back next season, the Nets will make the playoffs, but do not expect that much from them. You're going to hear the names of the likes of Dave Fizdale, Mark Jackson, and even potentially Tyronn Lue to take over this team next season. But I'm really not impressed, because the bottom line is we've seen with with the players such as Kevin Durant and Kyrie, when the pressure is on and the chips are pushed to the middle of the table, when it's on them, they can't get it done. I know that Kevin Durant is a two-time NBA champion, but he had to go to Golden State to do that. What has Kyrie Irving done without LeBron James? Not a lot. So this is what the Nets are basing their team around. Good luck. That's all I got to say. So, folks, that's going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge show here on YouTube. If you have not yet, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. You can check me out on Twitter at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. And for all of your health and wellness needs, you can check me out at wjmartin.mynewskin.com. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. Take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.